This is the June 28th, 2024 meeting of the Hopatcong Borough Land Use Board.
June 18th,
What's that?
June 18th,
What did I say?
24.
28th.
June 18th, 2024 meeting of the Hopatcong SEC annual notice having been in the New Jersey Herald and the New Jersey Sunday Herald and posted on the bulletin board maintained in the municipal building for public announcements. Please join the flag salute.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Bongiovanni.
Here.
Mr. Sherla.
Here.
Mr. Dellarina. Mr. Gaffin. Ms. Crock.
Here.
Mr. Kusevich.
Here.
Mr. Rossi.
Here.
Mr. Taylor.
Here.
Mr. Wagner. Councilman Smith. I'm going to say it wrong. Mr. Spidaletto.
Perfect. Here.
Mayor Galati. Chairman Wright. Mr. Mezkowski.
It's close enough,
Okay.
yes. Here.
Due to scheduling issues, the board chair is attending a graduation and the vice chair is within 200 feet, lives within 200 feet of the applicant this evening. We're going to need to nominate an acting chairperson for the purpose of handling this application this evening. It should be a class 4 member. Are there any nominations?
Nominate John.
I'll second it.
I'll third it.
Okay.
Gotta take roll call.
Roll call.
Roll call again.
Yes.
Mr. Bongiovanni.
Yes.
Mr. Sherla.
Yes.
Ms. Crock.
Yes.
Mr. Kusevich.
Yes.
Mr. Rossi.
Yes.
Mr. Taylor.
Yes.
Mr. Spadella?
Yes.
Spadellito. I'm going to say it wrong. Say
Yes.
it.
Yes. Mazaluski.
Mazaluski, I'm sorry.
Yes.
I will get it.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the minutes from last meeting, May of 21?
Make motion.
I'll second it.
Mr. Bongiovanni.
Yes.
Mr. Sherla.
Yes.
Ms. Crock.
Yes.
Mr. Kusevich.
Yes.
Mr. Rossi.
Yes.
Mr. Taylor.
Yes,
Oh, you can, and Ms. Can, since he was sworn in last week, can he do the motions and the resolutions? I mean, last meeting,
No, he shouldn't.
Mr. Mezza, okay,
Actually, you know, if somebody else needs to second it, I wasn't here on May 21.
okay.
Somebody else make the motion for that, to second it?
Second.
Okay,
I third it.
okay,
Sorry.
resolutions. 18 Larson Trail, hearing date is May 7th, 2024. Do I have a motion to approve it?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Mr. Bongiovanni.
Yes.
Mr. Sherla. Crock.
Yes.
Mr. Kusevich.
Yes.
Mr. Rossi.
116 Wesley Trail, May 7th was the hearing date. Do I have a motion to approve that one?
Make a motion. I'll second.
Mr. Bongiovanni.
Yes.
Mr. Sherla.
Yes.
Ms. Crock.
Yes.
Mr. Kusevich.
Yes.
Mr. Rossi.
Yes.
Mr. Taylor.
Yes. 12 Carville Trail, May 7th was also the hearing date. Do I have a motion for that one?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Mr. Bongiovanni.
Yes.
Mr. Sherla.
Yes.
Ms. Crock.
Yes.
Mr. Kusevich.
Abstain.
Mr. Rossi.
Yes.
Mr. Taylor.
Yes. 319 Wells Ave, May 21st was the hearing date. Do I have a motion for that approval?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Mr. Bongiovanni.
Abstain.
Mr. Sherla.
Yes.
Ms. Crock.
Yes.
Mr. Kusevich.
Yes.
Mr. Rossi.
Yes.
Mr. Taylor.
Yes. 350 Lakeside Boulevard, also May 21st. Do I have a motion for that one?
Second.
Mr. Bongiovanni.
Abstain.
Mr. Sherla.
Yes.
Ms. Crock.
Yes.
Mr. Kusevich.
Yes.
Mr. Rossi.
Yes.
Mr. Taylor.
Yes. No escrow refunds, bills. So we pay the bills. Martin McDonald, Dolan and Dolan.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Bongiovanni,
Yes.
Mr. Sherla,
Yes.
Ms. Crock,
Yes.
Mr. Kusevich,
Yes.
Mr. Rossi,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor.
Yes. Zoning officers report.
Nothing to see.
Correspondence, we have any correspondence? Discussions? No. Old business? Any old business? Any new business? Okay. No continued applications. Let's go to new applications.
Mr. Chairman, I need to recuse myself since Mr. Zucco is my neighbor.
Okay. When is that? It's block in 10810, lot 9, 53 Point Pleasant Road. Is the applicant present?
Yes, sir.
Is anybody representing you or?
No, sir.
Please raise your right hand. You swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And your full name, sir?
Bloody Zaku?
And you're the property owner?
Yes, sir.
Would you tell the board what you'd like to do?
I would like to build a dock, approximately 16 by 18 feet in dimension. It's a cantilever dock over the water.
And you need a variance for the maximum dock width.
Correct.
You received a document and it says updated survey, and I think that's probably what you're referring to tonight. It's up here. It appears that you would have a 13-foot setback from the right side yard as the line is projected, and the dock would have a width of 16 feet. There is a deed restriction that requires that the dock be located within the 30, how's it phrased there? Dock must be located within the southerly 30 feet of the lakefront property. So then you're 29 feet, and you're on that southerly side of your property, so you would comply with the deed requirement. Yes, right?
Yes, I would.
Okay. And why do you want to dock that wide?
Just to account for the lack of length, I guess, in the dock.
How far out in the water are you gonna be?
I think it's 16 feet.
I should be under ordinance, right?
Yeah, it's not a width is not the issue, it's just a width.
The width.
The width, yeah, he's got 20-foot length on one lot's angled according to the depiction, and it's 16 on the other.
And there's no existing dock there now.
Correct.
Anybody on the board have a question? I don't have any questions. Anybody on the board have any question?
I'm assuming the engineer.
Yeah, just the way the dimensions are, you have 20 feet going, is it 22 feet going into the property? Is that what's being proposed? It wasn't clear on the drawing. So what does that 22 feet represent?
So again, I'm not a builder or engineer, but I believe that's the foundation to support the beams that are overhanging the water. So,
Your piers?
Because it's cantilevered, so
Correct.
it's going to need to.
Yeah,
anchor
your
the-
piers. That's what they call them, as piers.
Piers.
Okay.
thank you.
So what's gonna be over so that's just gonna continue to be grass? So you're gonna put a patio there or what's?
For now, it's just gonna be grass. I don't know if I'll, cover it with some wood or brick or something, but there are no plans for that right now.
Okay, and then the access, and you're not doing any grading on the site, right? You're just building the dock,
Correct.
not changing the bulkhead?
No.
Okay, and then how are you constructing the dock? Dock, is it gonna be from the lake or are you gonna be bringing the material in from
From the land.
the land? And you don't anticipate any land disturbance associated with that? They're just gonna drive the material down, no grading or anything?
Correct.
And I guess the 16-foot, you said you needed it for, for boat for, because of the length, but it's, can you define that? Are you proposing to have the 16 to have a third boat there? Is that the, I'm not sure what the rationale is.
Well, I guess I had the idea of creating a platform there. So maybe one side to dock a boat on and another side for access to the water. Because of the length of the beams, I can't make a 50-foot dock, for example, because then you need a 100-foot beam. So the dock either 16 or 18 feet, I forget which orientation. Because of the lack of length into the water, I thought I'd make a platform for more access for more people.
Your one plan shows a 24.5 foot setback, but then you have the updated plan, which shows a setback of 13 feet from the right property line as the.
I think the second one should be the accurate one, and that was after we were notified.
It says updated.
Yeah, I think that's after we were made aware of the 30-foot.
Right, so you're gonna
restriction.
honor that 30 foot.
Yes.
Yeah. The one that says updated on it.
So the variance is for the 6 feet additional to the width, is that
For the
correct?
width,
That's right,
that's right.
the width.
Right.
Yeah, 10 feet is permitted.
And John, do you see any other issues with this?
No, it's really just looking at the width. The board feels that he has justified the hardship that he's requesting. You know, it's supposed to be 10 feet and he's asking for 16.
I guess I have a question. Do you currently boat on Lake Pecon?
That's a complicated question to answer because I like to visit, but we don't live there yet.
Yeah, the reason why, if I'm familiar with this property, there is an incredibly large boathouse. If I'm on the lake, looking to the right.
That's right.
It is oversized and very close to your property.
Yes.
And being a boater since I was 14 years old, the lake is really nasty on the weekends in the summer. And I'm just wondering, do you have enough room and comfort to get your boat in there, knowing the amount of chop that you're going to experience safely?
The 30-foot deed restriction provides for, I think, ample space between the boathouse and the dock.
Okay.
But also, I think there's enough room on the far side of the dock, on the lake side, where you could just dock the boat directly there.
Yeah. And I believe it's also a little tight on the opposite side as well, right?
Yeah.
You've got that large boat, and before the club,
Right.
there's a house between you and that, and they have a fairly large place as well. So you're kind of sandwiched in between two areas, and you feel comfortable that that's not going to be a problem for you.
I'm impressed with your knowledge of the area, but
I'm new here. I got to make a good impression.
but I think that's also was one of the considerations in not having, for example, a 50 by 6 foot dock, because not only is there the neighbor, but the yacht club sort of extends into the area almost.
Yeah, it's not a straight line. It's kind of curved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So keeping it closer to shore, that's just another reason to do that.
Okay.
Anybody else on the board got a question? Well, Steve? None. Okay, let's open it up to the public. Anybody from the public like to comment on this? Nobody. Okay, I'll bring it back to the board. What's, do we have a motion? Anybody want to make a motion or approve it?
Can I?
Sure can.
I make a motion to approve it.
You got a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Sharilla,
Yes.
Ms. Crock,
Yes.
Mr. Kukovich,
Yes.
Mr. Rossi,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Mr. Spitalini,
Yes.
Mr. Mazelowski.
Yes.
Getting better.
Yes,
Are you
I'm
starting,
trying.
are you starting work on this right away or?
Well, we unknowingly started work. I had a permit from the state And I was unaware that I needed a permit from the town. So about a day's worth of work has been started, but I would like to, once we have approval, we'd like to complete it as soon as possible.
So do you want to request a waiver of memorialization?
You can get your permits faster.
Yes,
Otherwise you lose a month.
absolutely.
Okay.
Do I have a motion?
I make a motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Shirley,
Yes.
Ms. Crock,
Yes.
Mr. Kuzic,
Yes.
Mr. Rossi,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Mr. Spadali.
Yes.
Mr. Mesalowski.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, you can go tomorrow and pick up your permit.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Okay. We're gonna open up to the public now?
Oh, that was yours?
No, work session.
It's a very nice boathouse.
Oh, the work session?
Sorry. It is a nice boathouse.
That's why I had to recuse
Okay, because of your boathouse.
because I.
Okay, we got a work session, Peckham Hills Land and Homeowners Association, block 30210, lot 2, 5 Hudson Ave. Anybody here from Wendy?
Yes.
You gotta get sworn in.
No, we're not gonna swear in, but, because we're not taking testimony, the work session is a free discussion, so you're open to whatever comments you might have, and the board is open to whatever questions they might have, but we wouldn't place you under oath, but we just ask, what is your name and what's your position?
Wendy Sutton, and I'm president and beach club manager of the Beach at Crescent Cove that's owned by Hills Land and Homeowners Association.
And what is it that the association is interested in?
So I was sent a letter from the zoning department, and he said I need to discuss it with you guys about activities that we're doing at the beach club. So we had Memorial Day weekend, we had a live band at the beach club. It wasn't open to the public, it was just for the members. We didn't charge fees, we didn't charge money, it was just, you know, for entertainment for the weekend. They came at 3 o'clock. They were there till 7, but they took like 3 breaks, so they really only played for 2.5 hours. There was noise complaints, which last week we actually met with the neighbors and the chief of police about all the various noise complaints, and we actually came to an agreement on that. So, but the letter said that I have to come here to get approval from you guys if I want to do it in the future. And I kind of don't understand why. And then the other thing is so normally we close at 7. On Fridays and Saturdays, I just added an hour to stay open till 8 because people had requested it. It's still light out. The kids are still swimming. And it says here that I need site plan approval to do that, and I don't understand why.
What is
So that's why I'm here. I'm kind of confused. I have extra copies if you need copies of the
I
letter.
guess fundamentally, you're in a R1 zone, which does not permit beach clubs and that fashion. And so it's recognized that that you have been operating as a pre-existing non-conforming entity for many years. You know, I've been the borough engineer for 25, and I can say that, yeah, you've been operating it.
1964.
Yeah, I'm sure it's been even longer, but there was a pre-established use of that property that's been recognized over the years, and the use of installing bands and doing more than what you've typically done in the past, it represents an expansion of the non-conforming use. So basically, Bill indicated that, you know, based on our records that we have at Borough Hall, we have no record of you having that permitted use to operate, have bands or other, you know, acoustical or music, you know, at that facility. So that's really what the violation was, and that you need to apply for that amended use variance. And again, I would certainly, I think people can accept the fact that it has been a pre-existing non-conforming for at least as a use as a beach club, but not for the use of the musical. So that's what you need to come in is for an amended use variance, and the fact that it's a a non-residential property or a non-residential use, you would need to have a site plan to identify, all the features that are associated with that non-residential use.
What is
So
it?
then how come the other beach clubs are allowed to do stuff and they don't have approved site plans on file? Because I opened it and there's no approved site plans for any beach clubs, and Elba 2 months ago had a live band.
And
It's
you're
on
you're right,
Facebook and there's a video.
they are, they have the same established pre-existing non-conforming
Mm-hmm.
use. And so if they were to operate differently than what they historically have, then they would also be flagged.
So
We have had beach clubs come in where they wanted to enhance their amenities with swing sets or recreational apparatus, and we have had that, where we've reviewed that in the context of a use variance and site plan. Because we want to be mindful that these beach clubs are surrounded, residential zones, of course, and they're surrounded by homes, and to try to be as respectful as we can to allowing the beach clubs to flourish and change in accordance with needs of their participants, but also recognize the interest of the surrounding homeowners for their privacy and their peace and enjoyment, their quiet and enjoyment. So what is it that this beach club proposes to do in the future in terms of bans?
So I just wanted to, because again, we never did it before, so it was a trial run. We did it at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so it wouldn't be, at night or interfere with the ordinance or anything. I would like to do it again. Now, I did speak to people that are in bands, and there are ways that they can lower their sound. There's decibel readings that they told me they can do with their equipment so that it's lower. We did meet with the neighbors and the chief of police, and we actually came to an agreement, and we actually tested this past weekend just with anything, and everyone was okay with the noise level. And if we were to do this again, we would notify the neighbors, we would lower it more. Again, we would do it at 2, 3 in the afternoon. It's because we're not open past dark. So it's something we would do earlier, and it would just be for the enjoyment of our members. It's not open to the public, we don't charge money for it. It's just, entertainment for our members. That's all. And like I said, I saw Elba do it 2 months ago, so I figured it was okay because they did it.
Yeah, so what you're starting to say is the testimony that you would provide in an application, that if the board did, favorable on your application, those are the type of conditions that are imposed into a use variances, time restrictions, how often, occupancy possibly, all those conditions get imposed into, the approval, and then there's a legal document that says how you can operate on the property.
Yeah, it certainly would specify that it's you're not bringing in people to pay to see the band, that it is
Yeah, we don't.
members only. I think that's probably critical in terms of parking and controlling numbers. But as Mr. Reschke says, you'd come in with an application just to lay that out so that there are conditions that.
So then I have to come up with I have to do a land use application to have live music.
And we'll have
So
to-
then does that mean I have to get an engineer and an attorney and all of that to come in?
We haven't required that in the past.
Well, they would have, if they're a corporation. They have to have-
But we're, all the
We've
beach clubs are
allowed a
corporations.
very informal
Yeah.
site plan in the past.
So you can certainly request it, and the board can entertain if you want to waive a site plan requirement, or you can come up with a hybrid plan of kind of just showing generally how the facility is going to operate. But that would be part of your application. If you're requesting a waiver, that you can certainly request it, but the board doesn't have to. They can review it and see if they want to.
I mean, we have a site plan.
And the other,
Well, if you have a site plan, then
You in 2022. I have it.
The borough accommodated you to do swing sets, I believe, wasn't it?
No.
there were
Sure.
We're leading for these little.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Pavilions.
So, you know,
Okay.
the borough has worked with the beach clubs and tried to make their, you know, certainly their situation, understanding their circumstances and hard to help them. But, you know, but if you're going to this is being a bit more elevated than adding a swing set. This is adding more live music and more activity that may negatively impact the residents versus installing a set of swings is not going to negatively impact the surrounding property. So this is a bit more elevated, and it does need to be more formal process. You know, Bill identified you have a right to appeal. You can certainly, you know, formally, there's a formal appeal process if you feel that you have, you know, pre-existing non-conforming rights to do the live music. You can come in and make that argument, or you can apply for the use variance and apply for the use variance and request that approval.
And the other beach clubs, you know, certainly could be notified that this.
I was just going to say that because none of them know that they have to do this.
Well,
And
it's-
unfortunately, I get picked on. I get, you know, targeted. Everything is always coming to our beach club where the other beach clubs are doing a lot of things. So that's why I do it, because I think it's okay. But then they don't get in trouble and I do. So that's why I don't understand this.
Well,
I think everyone's treated fairly, and I think if Bill gets a complaint or gets, you know, does a zoning inspection, he does the same thing with any beach club. He treats everyone fairly, so no one's being picked on. It's you know, he treats everyone the same way.
So it takes a complaint though for this to happen. So
no,
nobody
not
complained about
necessarily.
Elba 2 months ago. So nothing was sent to them.
Well, we're not driving around all day, every night, looking for complaints. But if he does a drive-by and sees some activity on a beach club, and I know we've had that in the past with Elba, you know, doing some activities on site and flagging them and stopping them from doing some improvements. So, you know, certainly we're mindful and watchful of activities being done on the end, and so we do intercede that. But you know, a lot of times when it's off hours and in the middle of the night, we'll get a complaint. We respond to a complaint. So it comes either way.
Wondering, question, how many members do you guys have in the club?
Right now we have 277 families we have at the beach
And
club,
you guys went from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m.
just on Fridays and Saturdays.
Friday and Saturdays.
Sunday through Thursday, we stay till 7.
And when you had the live band, what was the hours of the live band?
It was a Saturday, so it was 8 o'clock, but the band was done by 7.
By 7 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
And what time did the call come in?
I'll be honest, I don't remember. I don't remember when. Probably halfway through.
I mean, I can't imagine
The police came.
the live band was that much louder than, like, let's say 150 kids, you know, enjoying the water,
Mm-hmm.
like any club, right? I live next to a park, so one of the beach clubs. But I think with the, you know, with the idea is to come up with a game plan to, like, what you're going to offer to the community as far as, you know, tampering down the noise after certain hours.
Right.
And work with the community, right?
Mhm.
Like the police chief and so forth. And, you know, nobody wants to stop to have, you know, kids having fun, but also at the same time, we don't want to disturb the neighborhood.
Yeah,
That's
no,
the
I
idea.
understand. That's why we stopped it at 7. And like I said, they didn't play for 4 hours straight. They actually took 3 half-hour breaks where they didn't play. You know, so we did that on purpose. So it wasn't a constant, you know, and they, you know, again, the music, we made sure it was appropriate, not explicit. They even played some Elvis, they played some oldies because we had different, you know, variety of age groups. So it wasn't like even music that was, you know, head banging where you want to, you know, hit your head in the wall or anything. We made sure it was enjoyable, you know, music.
Do you have a sound system on site regularly?
So we just came to an agreement. So back in 2022, we used to have one of those party boxes with the big bass boost, and we used to use that. And that was my first year taking over the beach club, and there was a lot of complaints. So then last year, I worked with the police department. We downsized to it's like a small JBL speaker. It's like about this big, and it hangs on a pole in the middle of the beach club. And the police actually came down, they recorded it, they went to the neighbors' houses to see how it would sound, so we tested it out, and the speaker was approved, you know, it wasn't loud. Last week we met with the neighbors, you know, that were complaining, and we asked them, have you had any noise complaints since? And they said no, that the music's okay. Megan wanted to test it again this past weekend, so we did. You know, we were packed because it was warm. And Megan actually just told me an hour ago, nobody called and complained because she asked the neighbors if there's any issues this weekend, to please call her. and everybody was okay with it. And we used the same speaker, the same decibel, we didn't change it at all. Because, again, we downsized to the smaller speaker, and it's a lot smaller.
Now with the bands, you don't plan on doing it every weekend, do you?
No, I can't afford that. They're not free. Honestly, I was looking at doing it 3 times. I wanted to do May, June, and July, and that was it. I wanted to do 3 times, and that's it. I didn't want to do it every weekend because I just can't do that. I could even just do it twice. I would just like to do it again because that specific band, again, they were appropriate with the music. They played for all the different ages. And like I said, they told me that their equipment can be turned down. There's a decibel thing on their board. I don't understand that part of it, but they said that they can, do that. And that we could even test it before they would come back with the neighbors. I would also inform the neighbors this time. Again, we came up with a solution last week when we sat down with them, and the chief.
Cause I can see that sound going right down that cove.
Well, I will tell you, so we hear Patrick's Pub also
Right.
last summer. So we're on Hudson Ave and Crescent, DuPont Avenue. So there was a house party. The band was so loud, we actually turned off our music to listen to their music because it, obviously flowed into the beach club.
Right.
We hear music from the boats. The boats that are going out in Crescent Cove, it travels into our area too. So unfortunately with the water, the sound does travel, but it comes. You got to hear people in their cars. They drive past, wasn't us that played that loud music. So again, we are accommodating the neighbors. And, we did come to this agreement. Chief Megan can, vouch for that because we had that meeting last week.
Did you invite the neighbors?
To the beach club? They're welcome to become members of the beach club. So,
Invite them to the party. They can't complain if they're at the
but
party.
we don't open our events to the public. Like you have to be a member to come in
Just
to
your
listen to it.
Well, obviously, this is a work session, so you have to come up with a game plan and propose to us, and I don't think nobody's gonna be against that. But as long as the neighbors don't have an issue, as long as you work in dealing with the neighbors.
Right. Well, I know who they are. I know which house they are, so I would work with them. I have all, their phone numbers and stuff. But my concern is, I attempted to come in front of the land use board last year about the pavilions. And, I had to stop it because we're a beach club. We're zoned residential, but, beach clubs were a business. So we're a corporation, we're a corporate nonprofit. So I had to get an engineer and an attorney, and a new site plan, which was going to cost us a lot of money. So I had to actually, remove the application. I had to sell the pavilions because I couldn't even keep them up. I had to get rid of them. So it's very costly if to do an application to require us to have this attorney, have a new site plan done, because site plans are $4,000, alone just to get one. That was the cheapest one that I could find to get done. I have this site plan that Bill had done for us back in 2022, and nothing has changed.
Well, usually with a situation like this, if you have a site plan, you can indicate on the site plan where the speaker is and just locate it. We certainly have allowed that with various applications.
Can she come in without an attorney?
It's legally, it's a corporation, so she is supposed to have.
By law, she has to have
Yeah, but yeah, it's attorney.
So that property is privately owned?
It's owned by the
It's
association.
owned by association.
Yeah, and we have a board.
The members own it, basically.
It's come a long way from the mud hole.
That's a term of endearment now. Actually, us oldies, we don't
But
mind
you've
it.
done a fine job with it, I must say.
Thank you. Thank you.
Does she have something that she has to, on your end, she has to do something with the violation?
That's what it was.
There was no
The way-
violation.
the
It
way
was just a letter.
The way the letter was written is that it's come to our attention that these things occurred.
It's a nice
If
Then they
you
built
can
the
just
houses all
revert back to your
They were
previous activities, then not to worry. But if you were to want to do this in the future, you need to.
We typically don't issue summonses the first step. They first give a warning.
Extremely rare.
And then, but if they play it again after getting this letter, I'm sure they're gonna get a summons.
So then I have to,
If you want it, basically what I think is being said to you is that if you want to do another one, we understand you might, then you should come into this board with an application for site plan and variance approval. So we can have documented, nothing's under oath now, exactly, when it would be, what the hours would be, that it would be members only. We talked about the sound levels, hours kind of thing, because what we're trying to do is have a full understanding for the board's benefit, your benefit, and the neighbor's benefits of exactly what might happen there.
And I have to have an attorney
Yes,
to do this.
you do, you do.
Now, do I have to have an engineer with me?
No, not necessarily, because you're going to use an existing site plan and just mark it.
It may pay for you to like take some pictures and show where everything is, so that when you do come before the board, you have proof of where everything is, and it'll help us understand it better.
Sometimes a Google Earth shot is,
Yep.
sometimes they're pretty good, and you can get the surrounding properties in there to give a good orientation.
I mean, if you're planning on doing it more so in the future, it may pay to do it. It may pay just to come in and get the variance.
Yeah, no, I'm going to.
That way you don't have any headaches down the road.
I just want to make sure I have everything that I need for it.
But again, it is your application, so, we can, certainly the board can give you some guidance on their initial feelings, but after the application starts, and if we start getting, feedback and concerns or issues, the board can certainly say, no, we need a site plan, or no, we need a planner, no, we need this. So I think the expectation is that the application can be relatively a simple application, but the board reserves its right to request anything that it needs as part of the hearing.
You would notify the neighbors, but sounds like you've done a very good job in
You already started that
making
process,
good
so
peace
that's
with the
good.
neighbors, so that
makes the application go so much
90% of
smoother.
your involvement generally with these type of applications. So if the neighbors are good, then they can be allies, and that would really help you and help the board.
Okay. Now, my other question on this is also this hours of operation. So 1 hour on a Friday and a Saturday, I have to go through this whole land use application for that also?
Yes.
I don't understand that.
Well, you come in-
Because because I did talk to 3 other beach clubs that are close to us, and they don't have hours. They don't have openings or closings. They allow people to come and go whenever they please. I'm one of the few that we don't, and the reason why we don't is because of the well house that's on the property and the tanks. I can't let people come and go as they please because we have to worry about that getting, damaged. So how do they get where their hours, they don't have any? But I want to be open an extra hour on a Friday and Saturday. I don't understand that.
Do they have the same numbers that you do?
What do you mean numbers?
Families?
People.
I don't know. I don't.
Because a
They
lot of
have-
these beach clubs are
Biggest
Right,
than the other
yes.
ones, but I haven't been to all of them. I'll be honest, I've only been to 3 of them where I've actually seen their property. Because I think there's about a dozen beach clubs in
But
total.
there are no
in the
numbers
town.
like
Well, I
yours.
guess, Bill, your letter was referring to original hours of operation, right? So that's what you established, that what the typical,
What would be typical, and truthfully, I, of course, I can't speak for the board, but I wouldn't imagine this becomes a sticking point. And once you're bored, I'd say spread a wide net, cover everything. And if that means that instead of, closing at 6 o'clock, you say we close at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock. I mean, then at least it's in the document. You don't have to do that if that's your choice, but you have the ability to do that. Same thing, like think next year and the year after that, if you have the possibility to look out a little bit and consider things that you maybe you're thinking about doing, but you haven't got around to. Cover all of that. And so that you only
because the
do come
approvals don't
once a-
expire. So if you have intention of putting up a pavilion, then include that as part of the application, and you can just identify that will be installed at a later date.
Doesn't mean you have to put the pavilion up, it just gives you the right to.
So you might as well take advantage if you're coming in,
So do this all in the same application.
You could,
Yeah, you could.
You could, because it would make it easier on you, actually.
But I think what she's referencing is 7 PM to 8 PM
Yeah.
extension, which I don't see anywhere.
2 days a week.
But I think the question is, you can put that in as a variance, in the same variance
Right.
for the land use.
Yes, right.
So those two variances can be in the same application.
Yeah, the operations is a little sticky because again, it's a pre-existing non-conforming and we can only rely on what we've observed over the last 20+ years of how they've been operating. And that's, when you start seeing things changing from what you've historically always seen at that site, then it starts to be a gray area regarding your expanding use. And so, that gets to be a little sticky point.
It doesn't say,
Yeah,
7 PM, so.
You won't find any regulations on the use, because it's not a conditional use in the zone, so.
And they pre-exist.
Yeah.
Beach clubs have been here a long time, so they're there before the zoning ordinance.
So then, just so I understand, so if any of the beach clubs, just in general, change their hours, they have to come before land use to get approval to do that. Like any business,
Yeah, you can start ratting people
I mean,
out
do
if you
people,
want to.
no, but seriously,
It's
do
up to
people
you.
know that? Because I have to
You know?
go through spending all this money
Yeah, if you want to
and
start.
everyone else is doing it,
Okay.
but we, we are the ones that are being forced to do it, but then everyone else gets away with doing whatever they do. That's what
Well,
is confusing to me.
Like I said previously, you're not being targeted. So Bill, I would certainly look at the other beach clubs and just,
Within the
revisit them.
parameters of what I'm
Yeah.
able to do, yes.
Yeah, I understood.
absolutely.
Yeah, understood. You can speak to the presidents or your associations and stuff and just touch base with them.
Mhm.
Okay,
Okay.
all right,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Is anybody from the neighbors here discussion?
Usually they wouldn't be. 'cause
It's a
they're not-
it's a work session, so we don't do a discussion. Okay, let's open the meeting to the public. Anybody from the public like to come up and say anything? Discuss anything?
How you doing, board? Welcome, some new faces up here. Some I know, some I don't know. Name's James O'Rourke from Brooklyn at Lake Point, otherwise known as 5 West River Styx Road, right down the road. I'm sure you're well aware of what I'm about to ask, but I like to ask questions anyway. So hopefully I can get an update on where the development of the parking lot is.
John?
For
Green tree.
the green tree. Yeah, they got held up in the county and I believe they are gonna come in for an extension to the board. So they should be applying for that extension shortly.
We did receive a letter indicating that they are. Do we expect them to come in at the July?
They were just getting the information from the county so
Okay.
that we can see that that was the holdup.
Yeah, it was just held, the county's been, it's dragging out of the county. So,
I talked with the attorney and I said, please, you gotta bring a,
Don't wait till the end.
don't wait till the last minute. And also you gotta give us sort of a chronology of what's gone on since the last time you were here in terms of your efforts to get this done so that we know that this is being treated seriously. So we're waiting for that.
Just for my understanding, do we have any idea what the county is holding up?
Not off the top of my head. You can contact the county and see if any review letters or anything.
Who can I contact at the county?
Yeah, I did ask the attorney for any review letters from the county and correspondence, so hopefully we'll have that. We should.
We haven't received anything
I haven't
regarding.
gotten it yet.
Yeah, I haven't received anything from the county.
Just his letter indicating you'd be asking for the postponement, but then I did call him upon receipt of that letter and talked about what's appropriate, and that's communication and updates.
Is this-
You have to put up a bond too.
He does have a bond, yes.
Can we ask them for the, what's
the bond ever
the
presented?
next meeting, so we go.
Yes, yeah.
Do we know if the bond was ever presented?
Yeah, he said it's in place.
Can I open that? How would I go about getting that?
Yeah, I could open it. Yeah, it's public record.
It's public record.
Yeah.
Is the plan developed? Is that the county the holding up because they're reviewing the plan? Is the plan in place?
I can't speak for what the county's doing.
So then you have no recollection of an updated plan.
I have not attended any of the county meetings. I have not, I know they have they basically plan that was approved by the board. The county, I'm not sure where the current situation is with the plans. They haven't provided me updated plans.
Is this typical, or is this something that
Yeah,
probably
it's
could have
it's
been
typical.
anticipated?
You know, it's typical for a county to change something and, come back, and then they have to come back to the board or come back to me with any revisions, but it's common for the county to make revisions.
Great. So in your experience, how long does the county typically sit on it?
That's an impossible question to really answer. I've been involved with the county and I've been disappointed how long things take. I can think of what I'm dealing with now, and it's been months and months. There's no real time frame that, all you can do is, be a squeaky wheel. That's all you can do. There's not a lot of other action you can take.
Just so some of the newer members, and as we get into the summer season, I like to paint pictures. So at the commercial spaces in Brooklyn, all right, they gained some traction. I'm sure some of you have been to the new ice cream place. It appears they're doing well. But for some apparent reason, the construction or the typical construction process for that particular building, they were able to construct the building before putting in the proper infrastructure being parking in this particular instance. So now we're faced with the situation where they need to put people in those spaces down there, and everyone's playing hungry hippo with 7 parking spaces. So I don't know if people are aware, but on West River Sticks, I don't know if they operate like a marina, Old Town Village Marina. I'm not exactly sure. I could ask you, where do you think they park? But guess where they park? When the Beacon has a lot of people, where do you think they put the overflow parking? And now the ice cream place, guess what? They have a small establishment inside, all right? They're trying to really make the area nice and put chairs out for people to enjoy it. You have 3-4 families maybe that are there. Guess what? Everyone else drives fast because there's nowhere to park. I don't think that's very fair. I was always taught that you're supposed to prepare for the event. The infrastructure should have been in prior. For whatever reason, it wasn't. And now here we are faced with this, just kicking the can down the road with little to no understanding what's actually going on. It seems like a very odd situation. One last question, and what happens if it never gets done? What are we faced with?
That's what the bond is there for. If it doesn't get done, then John can answer that. But I believe if they don't do it
So who
within
would
the
do it?
time frame, the bond is there to protect the town, so the town can hire somebody to do the
So what's
job.
the timeframe then?
We probably would not take, the bond is, it's very rare, it's very rare for a municipality to take a bond and then do work on private property. We would issue summonses, we would drag this into court and go that route. We wouldn't do a bond. It's, to be frank, that's what we typically do.
So if we don't have an anticipated timeline on when the approval is going to sit in the county, how are we going in for another extension? Are we going in for an extension?
There's a firm extension that they have to
like an
complete it by
undefined
a
period of
certain
time?
date. We have a firm time that they have to complete it. The borough, and they are going to come back for an extension. The board can deliberate and decide how much of time they're going to give them an extension, or they can say no, and we can start issuing summonses. That's to be deliberated with the board, with the applicant, and the public will have its ability to comment when they're here.
Yeah. I believe the deadline's July 1st.
You know the exact thing?
They don't have any.
It
is-
I would.
Yeah.
It is July 1st. Correct.
I believe it's
No,
July
I'm not
1st.
sure if it was July first, but it was just, July first was on our calendar, it's raising the red flag that, something needs to happen.
So
I know it's a small project, but I mean, it'd be a miracle if it gets done by July first,
We
right?
take it very seriously, and the board has been taking that application very seriously, and, I don't think the board has been delinquent at all, they deliberated on the fact that, when the building was constructed, there was some issues with rent, commercial properties and the economics at the time, and, frankly, the borough was kind of happy to see a building going up there versus a vacant piece of property that was there for what, 30 years, 40 years, so it was actually good to, it fit very well with the borough's redevelopment plan. So, and so the borough was, happy to see that development, and unfortunately, it didn't go perfectly as planned, but there's contingencies in place, and we're following up with those contingencies.
I believe there's only 2 board members that were on the board when that building was originally approved. So it's a
Yeah,
whole new board since then, so
yeah.
I got a feeling that if they come before us again, it's gonna be a little bit different of an outcome.
Well, yeah, I mean, even the last extension, I mean, when you look back at the minutes going back from, I don't know, 17, 16 or whatever. I mean, at the last extension, you had board members that voted for the approval that recused themselves in the previous conversation. But we don't have to get into that.
Probably the biggest thing that we're holding onto that property owner is that he can't build on that lot on Feuerstein's. It's tied to this now, so he can't build, he can't do anything there
Because that's
until
his
this is
temporary
resolved. So,
parking right now.
that's a valuable piece of property with lakefront, and you can't do anything with it until this is resolved. So
So that's what.
that's even a bigger.
That's the temporary lot.
That's the temporary lot.
Where's the other lot gonna be?
The other,
On the road, well, by
Across
Hudson, the
Board of Education lot is gonna be expanded.
It's supposed to be the whole road, if I'm not mistaken. It's supposed to go the whole length of the road.
I have a question. So, just thought about this one. So obviously the county is its own jurisdiction, but I'd imagine that you could start some type of work, or at least start the new pavement or the clearing without having county approval, because technically you're not touching the county land at that point,
No,
correct?
you can't do anything without county
It's all
approval.
integrated.
But I thought the storm tech system was already ordered
It's ordered, but it's not installed.
on a
He can-
plan,
he can-
that was never developed.
He can buy all the materials he likes. That's his own prerogative. And I know the contractors that doing it, if he didn't install it here, he probably installed it somewhere else. So, it's the fact that he said he bought the equipment. I'm sure he did, but it's immaterial that he bought it because he can't install it until he has county approval.
Seems like you know a lot about it. It's good to know.
I've been doing this work for 35 years.
Hopefully,
so
hopefully
I
the
know what I'm
borough,
doing with land use.
hopefully the borough takes this matter seriously. Again,
It has.
here I am, and is as punctual with this as they are with everything else. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anybody else from the public like to come up and talk?
My name is Sandra Seaman. I live at 8 Hudson Avenue, directly across from the Slim Club. I'd sent an email earlier today in regards to the situation with the parking over there. The parking lot that they have is rather small, doesn't adequately accommodate all the vehicles that they have. Many times, my driveway faces the swim club. Trying to get out of the driveway on the weekends and sometimes even during the week is very difficult because they park perpendicular to my property here and they park along past my mailbox all the way to the bend in the road there. It is very hard for us on the weekends to try to get out. I don't know if there's any kind of situation we can do. They park on both sides of the road. If you want to take a walk down the road, you have to walk down the road. You can't walk on the grass to get anywhere because the cars are either parked on our grass or they're parked on the other side. Now, I don't know if there's something that can be done in regards to the parking situation.
How many parking spots are on the site?
Is Chris and Cove here again?
Yes.
Okay.
This has been remediated with the police already, and the police already approved it.
we have to have cameras there that you can see it for yourself. We have the recordings, but the police have come down and they had told us that as long as cars can get through and as long as they're not parked in spots where they can't reach, like by the stop signs and stuff. But the police come through all the time when it's on over. There are many times that not even the parking lot's full. So, you know, sometimes it's full and sometimes it's not, but this has been remediated with the police already. And you can talk to Chief Megan, she can.
We appreciate your concerns. We'll look into it.
Thank you.
Has it been remediated though? Okay.
Mara Modes, I'm a resident. As far as what this gentleman was talking about, the town bent over back. Well, we went to the school board and got them parking across the street, okay? He was supposed to have it done by January, July. He was allowed to get temporary C of Os on the basis that he had that parking done. So why can't we revoke his C of Os for the two? Because they don't have parking right now.
Well, first of all, it's not July 1st.
January.
Well, the parking isn't done.
Yeah, but
So if it doesn't get done, why can't we revoke the C of Os?
you have to ask Bill that question.
I'd have to look and see, it may be a position where you could take an action against the CO if it's a condition. And they have a temporary CO, I think they do, if I remember right. I
Yes.
have to look at it. You could indicate you're not gonna get a permanent CO, you gotta take care of this. I expect that they're gonna come back at the July meeting and present some kind of an update, hopefully that looks as though they've made a sincere effort and they're held up in the county. And I can tell you from experience as well that I have been held up in the county. Sometimes where I have the other side of it, I'm kind of happy that it has, but when I've got an applicant, I'm not so happy about it. Things just take longer and there is no real great leverage with the county to act, to be honest with you. Just, you know, you can just kind of push as much as you can without alienating the county.
Well, the county also does a bunch of towns, so it's.
County does the whole county, so they're active, they've got a lot on their plate, and they've got
I think,
smaller things, they've got larger things, so they've got a limited number of personnel, and they do what they can.
If memory serves me right, he basically swore that he was gonna have it done by July. Secondly, the temporary parking over there, he actually, after we bent over backwards, giving him the municipal parking, he charged for parking over there for the overflow of Hudson Maxim when they had any kind of like a band thing, a concert or anything for the parents to park over there. So I think there's a little bit of inequity here as far as the town is bending over backwards and we do things contingent upon and nobody checks up on the contingent upon. They don't have the parking for a C of O. The C of O should be revoked as far as I'm concerned because it was contingent upon the parking. So that's about that. The second thing is about the beach club. I'd like to know if the town paid for Mr. Rushke to do the site plan for the beach club.
I recall years ago.
I remember it.
Okay.
I remember telling Mike Francis that you shouldn't do it because I also did drafting and you had to sign off on the drawings. And he told her to just put blocks on the drawings. And I said, who's going to testify if any of the neighbors come in and complain? Because the engineer is supposed to stand up for what's on his drawings. And you opened a precedent for any beach club to come in here and use your drawings. I asked Mike that too at that time. And he said, yes, they could. So I have a serious problem with my is going for the town engineer to pay for beach. And since Sparta took 8 members and basically dequalified them for testifying because of conflict of interest, I think at the beginning of each meeting, you should look at your agenda and see if anybody has a conflict of interest. And everybody should have to say they don't. So right now, as far as I'm concerned, you have a conflict of interest.
I don't know, I guess he's talking to you.
Oh, me?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, since you were the last one I spoke to. So that's about it for today.
Well, just, I think just a note that, frankly, I don't recall what I did 20 years ago. And I kind of thought that we provided them a site plan that was prepared for our well house and allowed them to use our well house, so.
Yes,
Sure,
you
not
did.
sure.
And Mike said it was okay. And Mike also said that she should do a bunch of, just put boxes on it and bring it in.
It's public information once it's in things, so if they want
Yes.
to take my plan and use it.
And I asked if everybody else could use it and he said yes. So you should put it out there that every other beach club or anybody that has a well plan on there could use your site plan.
Mariner well, we have a site plan of the Mariner well, and it's a record, so if they wanted to use it, they could use.
Well, you should let them know that they could use it, so then they wouldn't spend the money to get another one.
I think the statement was she had a site plan tonight already.
She said he did the last site plan.
Well, if it was done for the well purposes,
The one with the
then
boxes.
it was done for the well purpose.
Anybody else from the public, like, come on up?
Just one comment. I know you said that they're operating in good faith. The pins for the survey were driven into the sidewalk somewhere around like late March, early April. So I don't think that that's exactly operating in good faith when they took that long to start moving forward, at least with a survey. So I apologize. Just wanted to make that clear.
Hi, everyone. Brian Bestor. First off, about the beach club. I drive by, I've been living here 17 years. I've never seen it look so vibrant. I love seeing all the families enjoying themselves. It's never looked so good, so clean. It's impeccable. I keep my property in an impeccable condition, so I understand what that takes. I'm kind of OCD about that, and I think she's OCD because the place is super, super clean. Anyway, I didn't come here only for that. I am really here as a result of a conversation I had with Mr. Donegan about a couple of concerns he had on my property that I'm developing on the lake, which is at 317 Maxim Drive. And I apologize if this should have been a work session. If you want me to have a work session, I'm open to that.
Do we know what this is about, though?
Well, I know that I don't know specifically what tonight's about, but I've had some issues the last couple of weeks about the.
Should it be a work session?
Well, I guess it depends on what you're doing. I mean, conventionally, whether it's a work session or whether somebody comes in the public and just talks about it, it's pretty
Okay.
much the same thing. So, I mean, the people on the other side, although I had anticipated they would be here at the meeting that wasn't. And I did mention to Mr. Besthorn that I thought they were going to be here at that meeting. Of course, that meeting got canceled. And just so they both had the opportunity to be here if they so, I hadn't heard from anybody, so I didn't know what to expect.
Okay.
It's a case where the people on the other side are, still very upset about the project, and they're been trying to turn things around, I guess. But hopefully, go ahead.
Yeah, so the neighbors aren't very happy. We did get the approval initially in 2021. They filed an appeal with the county. It came back to the board the second time in 2022. We vacated the original approvals. Since then, they have been borderline harassing me every time they can. Just nasty comments when I go down there to work. It was an abandoned property that I purchased. I paid off the back taxes and I'm putting a dock and I built a shed. I understand that they're frustrated because they liked having that empty property and it was kind of a buffer between the neighbors. So I understand their frustration. They've been here for a long time. So I've been trying to accommodate and be fair and friendly with them. And so far we're cordial to each other. So I'm not, I hope one day we can hang out on the dock and have a beer together, right? I'm not giving up on those hopes. One thing that Mr. Donegan did bring to my attention was I do have an approval for the dock that goes out. I have an approval for a 50-foot dock. I don't think I'm going to build that long. Once again, the neighbor was complaining a lot to me, saying, why do you need a 50-foot dock? And part of the reason I asked for that is because the water does get a little shallow along the shoreline. So if I did have, I have a pontoon boat, so that can handle a shallow draft, right? But if I did have like a ski boat or a wakeboard boat one day, it would need a deeper section to dock in of water. So I might not, for now, probably making the dock shorter, give them a little more room so they can turn his boat around easier, et cetera. So going down to the dock, there is a pre-existing retaining wall, and I have a variance for that retaining wall because it was a pre-existing retaining wall. We filed the variance that was requested by Mr. Donegan, and I have the variance for the dock that was also requested by
What was
Mr.
the
Donegan.
address on that?
317 Maxim. So the discrepancy is this: because we have that retaining wall that was there, which is approximately 7 feet tall, that goes down to the dock. When I repaired the retaining wall, I also put in some cast stone stairs. I thought that because the retaining wall is there, which is and I had approval for that, and I had approval safely. The only way to do that would be to put stairs there. So before, there was a retaining wall and a very steep kind of dirt hill with a hastily placed rock that acted as a stair, but it wasn't really a stair. So now I went, and when I repaired the wall, and here's a picture of the wall, just so I have copies if anybody wanted to see. I put the stairs there. So the concern is that those stairs are not reflected on the site plan. And if I do, there's a bunch of copies. If I do look at the site plan, Mr. Donegan is absolutely correct. It shows the wall stopping approximately 2 to 3 feet from the border of the property there. So my question is, do I really need to go through the whole variance process again for the stairs? If I do, I'll do what I have to do. I just want to make sure that I follow all the rules and keep everybody happy.
The stairs weren't on the, I think I remember this case. The stairs weren't on the variance?
I don't believe so. If you want, I'll go get
I can get the
I've got the file, because it's something I've been working on and off recently, so if you want, I can get it, but I don't.
I also looked and I didn't see it, and I think it was an oversight because obviously if there's a wall there, you need a way to get down. So I'm kind of surprised my engineer didn't catch it. I didn't catch it.
I think I gotta go towards Bill for this one.
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna assume that it wasn't there. 'Cause
Yeah, we
it
gotta
indicated
assume
it wasn't
that.
there. Can I take a look at one of the photographs?
Yeah.
Curious, thank you.
So this is your property right here, and this is the neighbor in the corner?
That's my neighbor, yeah. That's what my neighbor. So
And you planning on putting 50-foot dock on here?
it's actually, I have approval for 50, but I'm going 40.
I think so.
The first 20 feet are along that bulkhead along the property. So it's really only jutting out 20 feet from there.
Is this property right across from Division Lane?
It is. Well, actually not Division Lane, Toth Lane.
And your property's actually across the street, if I remember right.
Exactly, yes. I have a trail I built through the woods so I can walk down, which has been wonderful.
The height of the wall. Say this.
I remember stuff.
Do you remember steps now?
Excuse me?
He's lived there a long time. He says he remembers steps there.
Yeah, there could have been steps. Like I said, there were some rocks piled. They weren't as neat as this and clearly as,
Well,
but
I don't know.
these were.
I think it would be a hardship without
There was
steps.
evidence of this on, but even if it's pre-built and it's greater than 4 feet.
This is just a lot.
Yeah.
He's not living
Yeah, Mr. Rushton points out, if you're looking at the photograph, you see the small child in front of the wall's greater than 4 feet in height, clearly. And that should have had a construction permit for that wall.
the wall was on the variance. The pre-existing retaining wall was on the variance, and I did not modify the height.
You did get your building permit to construct it then?
I repaired the existing retaining wall that was on the variance, the pre-existing retaining wall. I did not build a new one. I repaired the rocks and put them where they
I
were.
think that should just be reviewed with Bill O'Connor to see if it does, see if it needs it, that's all. Even a repair, if it's a structural wall, you still may need a permit to repair it.
Question is,
But I guess.
I'm surprised your plan before didn't show stairs coming down, you know, just.
Well, I think it was just a gradual slope originally,
Yeah,
right?
just a pretty.
It wasn't really gradual. It was very, very steep.
Right, well, that's what I'm saying. It's just a slope. There was no steps there before.
We used to kind of slide down on our heels, honestly. before we had the steps put in. It was a slope around, I would say 25 to 30 degrees. It was extremely steep. So the goal was obviously to provide safe egress and ingress and also provide erosion control, which is a priority here. I did install the swale and the drainage conditions were all addressed as requested. And the swale has performed marvelously, including the past spring when we had all that hard rain, right? So we had no problems with drainage over there. So that's been great. It also accommodates all the runoff coming off the road and keeps that all clear of the neighbor's property. I have the neighbor on the left, which you can see the home there. I don't know if anybody recalls, but their driveway is encroaching about 50% onto my property, and their dock also encroaches onto my property. I'm trying to be nice about this and just not accommodate everybody and keep everybody happy. You can't keep everybody happy, as you know. So I'm not looking to go after them or cause trouble. I'm just trying to finish this up and move on with my life and enjoy it. That's it.
Well, I think that's why we gotta.
Yes.
We have to, whatever the experts say here, we have to go towards them.
I agree.
Especially the attorney.
Yes.
I think.
And my son wouldn't move for the picture. I tried. He is cute though, so that's added factor there, cuteness factor.
Everyone noticed that. You're building within 50 feet of the lake, that's a variance, and I don't know if there's a.
But that's part of the variance that he has already.
Well,
the main.
Not specific to the stairs and.
Yeah, but that's the question, is the stairs.
Yeah, the stairs, that's the whole question.
Yeah.
Not specific to the stairs, and the stairs are.
I would check the variance that he got and see if there's any leeway there. If it's mentioned in any way.
Yeah.
If not, I guess the only thing you can do is come back for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Come back. But I would check with Bill. I would check with Bill first thing tomorrow morning.
Okay, I'll check
tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll check it with him.
And
He's
let
been
him,
wonderful.
let him read over the variance first.
Okay.
And see, if it may be worded in that variance. Yeah, I don't remember. That was almost a year ago.
It was an extensive application.
Yeah.
It was.
There's a lot in there.
That
was almost a year ago. So I mean, it's Judy may remember. Anthony may remember. I don't know.
That was a while back. I don't remember either way.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fine.
I would do that. Check with Bill tomorrow and see if it's worded in there that the steps were included. If not, you may have to come back before us again.
Okay.
Hate to do that to you, but.
Hey, at least I'm not an LLC or a corporation, so I can do it myself. Yeah, horrible.
Good point.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
No problem.
Have a wonderful night.
Anybody else from the public?
Hi, Wendy Sutton, I'm back. So I just want to mention the parking issue that the neighbor brought up. So we had accommodated that neighbor back in 2022. We make sure nobody parks right next to her driveway. She made a big issue that she can't back out. There's actually, in the road, it says no parking, so that nobody parks right next to their driveway. The police come by constantly, always checking. And they know that if people are parked illegally, that I told them, ticket people. We own the parking lot, but we were also told you're allowed to park along the fence as long as you're not blocking the road. You're allowed to park along grass areas as long as you're not blocking a driveway or a mailbox. So they have come through numerous times. The other thing I want to bring up is there's a beach club in this town that doesn't have a parking lot. Back on Homestead. People have to park in front of the neighbors on the street. So I don't understand what the issue is. And like I said, the police have approved our parking situation. They come by like almost every weekend, but there's some weekends the parking lot's not even full and there are spaces, so it's, it could be busy, it could be not. So, I mean, I think that the parking, again, if you talk to Chief Megan, we've already, went over that the last 2 years. The other thing that I just wanted to reiterate is, again, it was brought up about this site plan. Back in 2022, when I took over the beach club, I had no documentation. I had nothing. The people before me had nothing. And I was told that that well house that's on our property, that's an easement, that there was no permit done, there was no site plan for it. So I was told that, you know, this site plan was being done for that and that I could use it for the beach club. So, you know, again, I don't think I was getting a freebie because it had to be done because that building wasn't permitted back way when it was put in. So I just want, you know, people to understand that I wasn't asking for a freebie, but it was done because that there was no permit for what they put on our property way back. So, you know, and again, I Oprah'd last year, every site plan I asked for every beach club, and I have an email saying that there are no approved site plans on file for any beach club in this town. And there are beach clubs that have closed pavilions, permanent structures, and they don't have any approved site plans. All I want to do is all these little things, and I'm being forced to have to do this and spend all this money because the application alone is going to cost me $900. And I don't think that's fair. So I just wanted to bring that up.
Anybody else from the public?
Good evening. John Varone. I live on Hudson Avenue, 16 Hudson Avenue. There's a set of stairs which come down from Northwestern Way. And the stairs have been deteriorating over the years. And I've brought it to the town's attention a couple of times. Maybe the first time about 3 years ago. And recently they put some barrels and a barrier to prevent people from coming down the steps because the concrete has spalled so much that it's almost like a ramp coming down. And a lot of people use this to come down from the street above to get down by the beach area or just come down to walk down by the lake. The question I have is now there's a barrier at the top of the steps and there's tape at the bottom of the steps blocking it. Because of that, people who walk down the path, my property is adjacent to this path. Now they're coming through my property and coming down the hill. We're elevated above the street and they're coming through my property and down to to get down to the street. So either they have to close it up at the top so people don't walk down, and I'm just wondering if they have any plans of repairing these stairs at some point. It's town property.
Sorry to interrupt you, but this board doesn't have jurisdiction.
Oh,
over that
okay.
issue. It really is the mayor and council. You need
Oh,
to
okay.
speak to. And I know Pat Mason is doing something with the steps. I think he's getting them repaired. So,
Okay.
you know, you could call up Pat Mason, DPW superintendent.
Yeah, they had come out there. I had spoke to him, like I said, about 3 years ago, and the condition has gotten worse. They closed them then, and then nothing was done. And then the tape disappeared and everything went away. And they just recently, somebody must have complained or something because they put a barrier up and tape again.
But I know the DPW is doing something.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I just, okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate your time. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Anybody else from the public like to say anything? No. Do I come back to us? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.